How bad is this for Boeing? Because we had a similar sort of report out of the crash of Lion Air before, that in fact the pilots did comply with what Boeing said you should do if something malfunctioned.
Yes, well, there had been that report, but it wasn't really clear that it happened on the day of the flight or the timing of it. I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't look good. But on the other hand, it still looks like the problem is largely isolated to this MCAS system, which played a key role in these terrible tragedies. That means that what Boeing is working on now, in terms of a software fix, in terms of training, should hopefully be able to solve the problem just with this isolated system.
It should be, but it's been quite a while since the Lion Air, and they've been working on it since then. They said they were about to come out with a software fix, and then it wasn't clear to me whether it was Boeing or it was the FAA said, no, not so fast. You don't have it fixed yet. Is this a worse problem than we thought it was?
Well, we don't know yet. I don't think Boeing has fully analyzed what's come out of this. There's no reason, however, that the problem would spread from MCAS. In other words, there's nothing wrong with the rest of the plane, the fundamental design of the aircraft. What we're talking about here is the level of sensor input between the probes and the MCAS system. We're talking about the procedures that take place in if it activates the warning light that might kick in. I mean, this might take more time, but at the end of the day, it's still one system, and how it performs. There's nothing else that's suggested about the rest of the aircraft that might be flawed.
So, Richard, there are questions now, especially after the Ethiopia report here, that potentially you don't know if you can trust the fix from Boeing, and if it's actually going to make a difference. Do you buy into that kind of conversation?
No, because at the end of the day, there are at this point worldwide agencies, not just the FAA, but EASA, Transport Canada, and many others that are going to be independently verifying this fix. It's not just going to be, as Boeing puts it, a one-hour software download that gets implemented over the coming weeks. Rather, you're going to see several months, at least, of extensive testing. And it's not just going to be by the FAA. Sadly, we've moved past the spirit of international reciprocity on this, understandably. You're going to see multiple agencies put this through quite a lot of testing to make sure that this solves the problem.
So Richard, we always want to remember the tragedy of losing all the lives in both of these crashes, and that's the first and foremost issue. But there's also the question of money. All these 737 MAXs are sitting on the ground, as I understand it. That's got to be costing some people a lot of money. How expensive is that, and who's going to foot that bill?
Yeah, it is extremely expensive. Obviously, first and foremost, as you say, human life is the main issue here. And that's got to take priority rather than making the economics good. But it's also important to remember that this is going to have an impact on the system. Now, the good news is, from everyone involved, is that there are multiple layers of insulation. In terms of accident liability, you've got insurance and reinsurance for Boeing. You've got, as for the cost of the airplanes on the ground, yes, you're talking hundreds of millions, perhaps billions of dollars. But this is why only deep-pocketed, well-resourced corporations build aircraft, and Boeing earned about $10 billion last year. So there's no major threat to their future.